I haven't told this truth in 50 years, not the whole of it. You carry a thing like that, it becomes a part of your bones. The cost, written on a soul. That man there, in that faded picture, that was me. Charles Henry Washington, Greenville, Mississippi, born and raised. 19 years old, standing tall in my new army greens, my Dorothy Jean smiling beside me, her hand on my arm like she was holding me to this earth. I thought that uniform might make me a man, give me a respect I couldn't find back home. 1967. They needed soldiers. And a black man from the Delta, he knew about serving. I just didn't know what I'd be serving up. They shipped us out. The heat hit you first, walking down that ramp. Not a dry heat, a wet, thick heat that wrapped around you and squeezed. The smell, rot and diesel fuel and something sweet like spoiled fruit. The jungle wasn't just trees, it was a wall, a living, breathing wall of green that swallowed sound and light. You were never dry. Either you were sweating rivers or you were kneeling in a river of mud. I was a rifleman with the 1st Infantry Division, the Big Red One. We served twice as hard and got half the credit. But in that mud, war don't care what color you are. It just cares if you can move and shoot and carry your brother. And I had brothers, men like me, Johnson from Detroit, who could make you laugh until your sides hurt on a quiet night. Rodriguez from New York, steady as a rock. We came from different corners of a country that didn't much want us, but in that hell, we were everything to each other. You learned a man's breathing in the dark. You knew the sound of his step. That's the bond. That's what they can't teach you. The noise, it never stopped. The thump of artillery, the whoop, whoop, whoop of the Hueys, the chatter on the radio. Your ears would ring for days. You'd try to sleep, but you'd just be listening. Every shadow in that green was a possibility. Every quiet moment felt like a trap being set. You're young, but you get old real fast. You stop seeing the world as a place of things and start seeing it as a collection of places to get shot from. We'd hump through those valleys for days, packs cutting into our shoulders, leeches on our legs. You'd dream of cold water, of Dorothy Jean's voice, of silence. But the silence out there, that was the worst sound of all, because that's when you knew something was coming, and something was always coming. It was leading up to a day in a place so insignificant it wasn't on any map we had. Just a number on an operations sheet. A day that started like any other, hot, miserable, tense. We were moving through a ravine, thick canopy overhead turning the light a strange green twilight. The air was dead still, too still. The birds had stopped singing, and in that quiet you could feel it. The trap was already sprung. We just didn't know we were in it yet. That day it had a name. Operation something or other. But to us, it was just the next valley, the next patch of green hell they pointed us at. Our objective was a suspected supply route. Intel said it was cold, but Intel was wrong about a lot of things. We were a squad, 12 of us, but in my mind there were 3, the brothers I leaned on. There was Johnson, like I said, from Detroit. Man had a smile that could cut through the gloom. Carried a picture of his baby girl in his helmet liner. He'd say, "Charlie, when I get back, I'm going to buy her a pink house. A whole house, just pink." He was the heart of us. Then there was Rodriguez, Puerto Rican from the Bronx. Quiet, solid. He had these steady hands. Could field strip his rifle in the dark, blindfolded. He didn't talk much about home, but he'd hum this same salsa tune under his breath when we were walking. It became our rhythm, da-da-dum, da-da-dum. You'd hear that beat in the column. You knew Rodriguez was right there, holding the line. And me, the country boy from Mississippi, trying to prove I was more than what Greenville said I could be. We moved into that ravine single file, weapons at the ready. The canopy was so thick it felt like walking underwater. That green twilight, everything was damp, the smell of wet earth and decay. Your own breath felt loud. We were alert, but we were tired. You get a rhythm to the fear, you see. You can't stay at a peak. You settle into a kind of weary watchfulness. That's when the small things started. Rodriguez stopped humming, just cut off mid-bar. Johnson wasn't cracking his usual joke about the mud. The point man held up a fist. We all froze. The silence wasn't just quiet. It was a wait. The insects had stopped. No bird calls. The jungle was holding its breath. I looked down. My boot was sinking into the mud beside a broken branch. But the break, it was clean, fresh, not weathered. Somebody had made that, recently. I caught Johnson's eye. He gave a slow, almost imperceptible nod. He'd seen it too. We all had that feeling, crawling up the back of your neck. The trap was here. We were standing in it. We just hadn't tripped the wire yet. The lieutenant, young kid fresh from OCS, he whispered into the radio. Static crackled back. He signaled us to move forward, slow. Every step was a decision. You'd place your foot, test the ground, shift your weight. You're listening for the click no man ever wants to hear. You're looking at every vine, every mound of leaves, seeing not what it is, but what it could hide. We rounded a bend in the trail. The ravine narrowed. Walls of earth and root rose up on either side. A perfect place, a killing zone. My mouth went dry. The lieutenant raised his hand again, to stop, to listen. That was the last second of the before, the last heartbeat of the man I was, the man Dorothy Jean kissed goodbye. You don't get a warning, just a single, sharp crack that splits the world in two. The plane touched down in Chicago, 2 years. I walked off that ramp, and the world was too bright, too loud. Dorothy was there, in a yellow dress, holding a sign. My heart should have leapt. It just sank. She ran to me, wrapped her arms around me, and I stood there stiff as a board. I could smell her perfume, but all my mind registered was the scent of the jungle, of diesel fuel. She was whispering, "Thank God, thank God." And I was looking over her shoulder, scanning the crowd. For what? I don't know. A threat that wasn't there. That was the first wound she couldn't see. Coming home to our apartment was like walking onto a strange stage. Dorothy had kept everything perfect, but it wasn't my home anymore. I was a guest. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, reaching for my rifle that wasn't there. She'd touch my shoulder to comfort me, and I'd flinch like she was a VC coming through the wire. The silence between us grew thick. She'd ask, "What was it like, Charlie?" And my throat would close up. How do you tell the woman you love about the things you've seen, the things you've done? You don't. You lock it in a steel box and throw away the key. You think you're protecting her. Really, you're building a wall, brick by brick, right down the middle of your marriage. She waited 2 years for her husband. The man who came home, he wasn't her husband, not the one she remembered. I was a ghost living in his skin. I was short with the children when they got too loud. I couldn't hold a job. The anger was a low boil, always there. Dorothy, she served twice as hard too, holding this family together while I was gone, and then holding it together while I was lost inside myself. She never left. But let me tell you, I gave her every reason to. That's a debt I can never repay. The healing, it didn't come from a big moment. It came in whispers. It was Dorothy, after years, saying, "I don't need to know what's in the box, Charlie. I just need to know you're still in there with me." It was my son James, now a pastor, who didn't preach at me, just sat in the silence with me. And it was the brotherhood, finding other black veterans, down at the American Legion post, men who knew. We didn't talk about the war much at first. We played cards, drank coffee. Then one day somebody would say, "You remember that rain in the Highlands?" And the box would crack open, just a little. With them, I didn't have to explain. They knew what it was to come home to a country that didn't want to see your medals, only your color. What do I want folks to understand? That service leaves a mark, whether the country appreciates it or not. We carried 2 wars, one over there and one over here. When a young person puts on that uniform, they are giving their country their future self. The person who comes back is changed. See that veteran. Don't just thank them for their service. See them. Ask how they're doing and mean it. Listen to the young people. Service is the highest calling, but go in with your eyes open. Know that you are offering up your peace of mind, your innocence. You are writing a check with your soul that your country may never fully cash. Make sure the cause is worthy, and when you come home, find your people. Find your Dorothy. Find your brothers and sisters. Don't do what I did. Don't bury it. A wound kept in the dark only festers. I'm 80 years old now. I sit on my porch in Atlanta, and I can hear the quiet. It's a peaceful quiet. It took decades to earn that. I think about the boys we left in the mud of Southeast Asia. Tommy Jenkins from Birmingham. Louis Garcia from the Bronx. Young men, black, white, brown, who never got to grow old, never got to sit on a porch and find their peace. I speak for them. Their voices were silenced, so mine has to ring clear. We served. We came home. We carried the weight. And in the end, by the grace of God and the love of a strong woman, we found a way to lay it down. That's the story. That's the truth. Let me tell you what it was like to finally come all the way home.